Recently, the Navy invited members of the media for a tour of San Clemente Island, 70 miles west of San Diego. It's the southernmost of California's Channel Islands, but unlike its well-known neighbor to the north, Catalina, San Clemente is not accessible by the public. That's because it's home to a Navy SEAL training facility and serves as a key training ground for Marine expeditionary units. It's also the site of the Navy's only ship-to-shore bombardment range. The island's isolation also led to the evolution of unique plants and animals not found anywhere else on Earth.
On this island alone, there are 17 plant species found nowhere else in the world.
That's Brian Munson, the botany program manager at Naval Base Coronado.
So these conditions are different. So when a seed or something from the mainland comes out here, it encounters new conditions and it'll evolve into something new, and that's what's happened numbers of times on this island.
Sheep were raised here until the 1930s when the Navy took over the island. Then, wild invasive goats devastated the plants that native birds used for nesting. When the Endangered Species Act became law in 1973, the Navy launched a program to remove the goats, and by the early 90s, they were gone. But the damage was done, and several native plant and animal species found themselves threatened or endangered. The island has been recovering ever since. Wildlife biologists from the Navy, together with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, began a decades-long program to recover those species. The island night lizard was removed from protected status in 2006, and now 4 plant species and 1 bird are being removed.
The delisting of these species is huge. In the entire history of the Endangered Species Act, only 10 plants have been delisted due to recovery.
The San Clemente Island paintbrush, lotus, larkspur, and bushmallow are the 4 plants being delisted under the Endangered Species Act. The San Clemente Island bell sparrow, a small brown bird with a fluffy white breast, is also being removed from protected status.
The San Clemente Island paintbrush, at the time of listing, there were only about 1,000 individuals, and the only way that plant survived was existing on extreme cliff faces, like you can see behind me. These extreme cliff faces were not accessible by the goats because the goats virtually ate everything that wasn't on one of those cliff faces.
Experts say the successful recovery of these species shows that with proper management, the habitat can withstand the military's activities, including being shelled by warships.
There are protected species within the shore bombardment area.
Melissa Booker is the island's wildlife biologist. She works for the Navy and says that while it might be counterintuitive to shoot at an endangered habitat, those species are doing well.
The species actually thrive in these areas. The area of actual bombardment, things that actually target and hit the island, is relatively small, so about 9% of the island. And then the remainder of the area behind me is a large buffer.
That buffer zone on the south end of the island, known as SHOBA for Shore Bombardment Area, is home to the now delisted island bell sparrow. Booker says even the areas in the direct line of fire from Navy ships show signs of wildlife.
We have everything from foxes to shrike to bell sparrows moving in and out of those areas and utilizing those areas successfully.
With Wednesday's delisting, these species lose protection under the Endangered Species Act, but Navy scientists say their efforts will now pivot to preventing them from being relisted. Andrew Dyer, KPBS News.